Hello everybody, welcome to PlayStation Access. My name is Ash and I'm joined by Rosie.
Hello everybody.
Oh, and we are here today because I have had the great pleasure to be able to play some Lords of the Fallen.
I'm very jealous. I'm very excited for this game. It looks like my cup of tea and I'm very excited for you to tell me about what it's like.
I know, literally it's why I've pulled you up here because I know you're the Souls lady. And if you don't know what Lords of the Fallen is at home, I'm going to tell you it is the successor to a 2014 game, but you don't need to have played it to understand what's going on here, as this is like a reboot, sequel, reimagining kind of moment that's set 1,000 years after the events of the first game. So don't worry about that. It's 1,000 years ago. It's in the past, baby.
Don't look back.
And Lords of the Fallen releases on the 13th of October on PS5. It is a Souls-like game where you are a dark crusader about to overthrow the demon god Adir in the land of Mornstead.
Oh, what a good demon name.
Yeah, he's in there in the umbral plane going, ooh, I'm so spooky. Now, right, Rosie, what I want to tell you about first is basically the dual world kind of idea that's going on in Lords of the Fallen, which I'm sure you've seen in the trailers. So these are kind of, have two names. One is Axiom and one is Umbral, and they basically represent the lands of the living and the dead. And you're going to be playing in Axiom for most of the time, or trying to be playing in Axiom for most of the time, because this is the land of the living, where you can see things and people and treasures, but there is this constant parallel dealio going on where Umbral exists at the same time, and you're gifted a lamp to be able to look into that realm and be able to see things.
Oh, that's cool.
It's so cool. But the kind of thing that links these two together, apart from the little lamp that you can peek through and see what's going on, is if you die in Axiom, you die in real life. If you die in Axiom, you get sent to the Umbral world. So in a Souls-like with really challenging combat and other things going on, you basically get a second life. So instead of going straight back to your kind of checkpoint, you get sent to the same point in the land of the dead. And then you have to fight your way back out of there to make it back to Axiom. Which is super duper clever, because if you're like me and you just rush into things and make a mistake, then you're like, okay, well, let me have another go before I get sent back and everything gets resurrected again. And in these two worlds, they're kind of like denoted by visual changes. So Axiom's quite dry and dark still. It's very dark fantasy. But it looks like the real world. And then you go to Umbral and it's all this kind of bluey, purpley, bone-covered, desiccated bodies. There's vertebrae bridges that you've got to walk across. There's corpses everywhere. It's very Land of the Dead. It's very Land of the Dead.
Very gloomy from the sounds of it.
100%. Like, I'm going to go and get some like architectural advice from these people on how to build my own bone cathedral. It looks incredible. So you can definitely tell when you're in each one if you've got anything strange going on, and you kind of hop in between worlds. Now, each of the worlds has their own unique treasures, characters, pathways, and you're going to need to go to Umbral even when you're not killed to be able to do like platforming challenges as well.
Oh, even more my cup of tea.
Exactly. And these are hard. Like, it's got that very Dark Souls feel where you can sprint and jump at the end of a sprint, but otherwise you're kind of figuring it out very much with your feet on the floor. So being able to jump over stuff has to be super well timed, and then you've got to be in the Umbral realm to do it, and things will be moving around and swinging. There's this high cliffside level that we played through in the hands-on, and oh my goodness, the amount of times I rolled off the edge of a cliff, but then came back in the Umbral world and had another go and did it. Like, it's very risk reward. The Umbral realm kind of as well, you might think, well, why don't I just play in the Umbral world and get all the cool skellies and, you know, kind of sacrifice a life to be in there. But the longer you spend in there, the more baddies come after you and the more aggressive they get as well.
So you can't get comfortable.
Yeah, so there's constant sense of like threat. There's this little meter in the corner that multiplies the longer you stay there, with things kind of noticing you and getting closer and appearing, as there's these kind of faceless husk Draugr-like things that are constantly shifting in and out of reality, and if they kind of spot you, then they come in because they're drawn to the light of your lamp. But yeah, it's incredibly well put together, and this dual reality never got old the whole time I was playing it. It was so fun to just bring up your lamp and like peek into the other world, see if there's something you want to collect or have a look at, and then be like, okay, no, I'm going to stay in Axiom for a bit longer, fight some enemies, and then you can choose to go in there as well, like if you need to do something. And the way you get back is by resting at Vestiges, which is kind of your bonfire kind of moment, which are the bodies of fallen lamp bearers prior to you.
Oh no!
Yeah, but they're so cool because they're just kind of like these big people with the lamps in front of them. I just really like them as a symbol.
Yeah.
And you can create your own by carrying little seeds and planting them in flower beds, which is adorable.
Oh my god, that's lovely.
A big corpse comes out, but it's cute until then.
It's lovely and cute in this big gloomy, like bleak world. It's like, I'm just going to plant one over here.
Yeah, just gonna put my little seed in and let this body come out, and then you can rest and level up and do all of your fun menu things there. And that's how co-op works as well, because this is a fully cooperative game.
Oh,
so
fantastic.
You can play the whole way through in co-op and do PvP and have loads of other fun stuff in there. So for people pining for the kind of Souls-like co-op experience, this does that really, really well. So, to talk about the lamp a tiny bit more, you can use it in combat as well.
Nice.
For an ability called soul flaying, which is literally tearing souls out of people's bodies, which is hard as hell.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Really, really cool.
Both me and Rosie are pulling her face like... But it is really cool. Like, you kind of whip it out of them and you can attack their soul and smash it up to deal damage to them. And you can unlock special like front stab or back stab finishers that then give you special runes if you manage to do it all whilst they're in a soul flay. So there's benefits to being very good with your soul flay, but you can use it as like a stunning mechanic or to like pull people out. And you charge this up by looking at enemies with your lamp and kind of sucking their souly juices out.
Souly juices.
Yeah, or finding blisters in Umbral that you can suck dry, for lack of a better word. So combat is naturally very challenging. I loved it and I really liked the challenge it offered, but to say that I didn't die a lot would be a lie. It would be a lie, Rosie. So
that's fine. It's good to be honest, especially in these games. Just be honest. And
I tell you what, I will be honest. I'm
Yeah.
going to have one small brag, because at the beginning you face like one of the really big bads that turns up in all of the cinematics. And it's like the classic, in Bloodborne when you fight the werewolf and it's too strong for you. And 2 developers were behind me watching, and then they came over and cheered at the end.
Did you do it?
Yeah, I didn't kill it. No.
Oh, did you get close?
I just did really well. They were like, this is the best we've seen, and I was like, thank you so much. And then the next boss, I struggled so much I had to ask them to put all my weapons up to +10. So so I was like, well, there's the end of that. But then I swapped over to another one to still get the Souls-like difficulty experience. But the bosses are so cool and so fun, and they take a lot of learning and figuring out. It's not, you can't just jump in and do it, which is what people look for with these games, I guess. But, just to reiterate that it's hard. You're gonna die a lot. The one blessing is it doesn't have a massive "you died" screen, so that kind of like jumping back in and going to the underworld and being in the umbral plane and then coming back out again is very fluid. It's very in and out. There's no worries about the game kind of goofing on you with the big "you're dead, ha
You died, lol.
Yeah. That was one blessing. I was like, thank you, game, for giving me this small bit of joy. Within this hands-on as well, I was playing as the Warwolf class, which is a person wearing like a big wolf's cape, which looks very cool. I think you would like them a lot. And they come with a big sword, and they have a hatchet you can throw as well, because everybody has like a ranged option. So you've got crossbows, hatchets, bows, other stuff that you can use. So you can throw your hatchet from far away and then come in with an attack. And there's different stances you can pick as well whilst you're playing. So to be able to manipulate all this to what suits you is one of the biggest joys of playing, like figuring out your combos, what you like using, how to power it up, like having your different salts and applications you can put on your blade to make it stronger or have elemental abilities. It is crazy detailed and exactly what you want from this kind of Souls-like genre game. You can also dodge and parry. So naturally, I just want to say that you can. And doing perfect parries gives you opportunity to kind of get back in there and do some real damage.
I was going to ask if there were like perfect parries for those looking for the precision and things like that.
Yeah, so kind of like drawing from something like Bloodborne, you get the visceral style thing, which is your back stabs and your front stabs, which do like a unique kill. And that's really, really fun. But yeah, it's just so good. There is magic as well, which I didn't experiment with. They suggested it was more for people who are very familiar with the game or are coming back to try a new style. So for like, a few hours hands-on, I didn't want to struggle with like trying to figure it out when there was so much to see. So there is fire magic, holy magic, and umbral magic, which all come from different kind of areas within the world. They all have a lot of lore behind them. You can put 4 magic skills into your controller to have like easy access to them, but there's plenty of other things you can experiment with. But there is a build-up that is quite costly if you use too much of this. And it's in other parts of the game as well. Wither damage is a thing, which basically grays out your health bar until you take a hit, and then that hit will take off all the health that is withered. But you can apply this to enemies as well. So wither damage is something to kind of be really wary of, and kind of casting spells using your lamp, healing in umbral will cost you some withered health, and then you can gain it back by hitting things and having it restore to normal abilities. So that's really fun, but also something to be incredibly aware of.
Yeah.
If you're running around with a full grayed out health bar, like it's fine, and then you get one hit and you're gone. So just to kind of wrap us up a bit, there's so much more to talk about with Lords of the Fallen, honestly.
I want to hear you talk about so many more things about it.
But I need to give you the flavour only, and the dual worlds are incredible. That's the main thing to take away from this. I think it's just so well thought out, and it's so interesting and compelling to basically have 2 games and 2 worlds in one that you can switch between, and that does it so deftly with visual cues as well. Like the way that Umbral World looks is hard, like it's so good. I mentioned earlier you can do co-op and have PvP combat. You can also get NPC summons, so people that you meet throughout the world will come and help you in a battle, which is
Love
nice.
a mate coming to join me in a fight.
Oh yes, I was struggling with Pietar was the one that was really tough for me, which we've got a little bit of footage of. She looks so cool. She's great as well. And one of the guys I met was like a big mothy figure that I could ask to come in and help me, because moths are a big thing in the game.
I hate moths.
I love moths. It's very moth heavy.
I was going to say, with all this mention of lamp, I've just been like, I think it's just moths, and now you're like, oh yeah, it's very moth heavy. I'm like, oh my god, it's making sense.
Yeah, like there's blue moths in the world that kind of like show you when things could be an umbral to look at as well. So it's like, follow the moths, baby.
Okay, these sound like nice moths.
Yeah, they're friendly moths. They're friendly moths. And obviously I need to say how great the bosses are, but you can see for yourself, like the Congregator of Flesh, aka colloquially known as the Boglord.
The Boglord
is one of my favourite bosses I've seen in a game in ages. He is such a horrible little freak, and he's so grubby and has so much flesh and nastiness to him. And there are so many others that I got to see just in this short amount of hands-on time. I cannot wait to see the rest of the game. It's really, really good. And I know as Souls Queen, Rosie, you are absolutely going to smash it. So I can't wait to see you play it.
I can't wait to play it now. I was hearing you talking about it. I'm like, I want to play it now.
Well, not too long to wait, 13th of October, and it's on PS5, so you get all of those lovely haptic feedback DualSense wireless controller goodies along with it as well. But yeah, that is the end of our little preview of Lords of the Fallen. Thank you so much for listening and watching. I hope you've enjoyed this. Let us know in the comments what you're most looking forward to with Lords of the Fallen. We'll be back very soon with more PlayStation goodness, so hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with that. And yeah, see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
PlayStation